Hi everybody. So today we'll be discussing a very important question related to your personal interviews and possibly the first question that is asked to you in your personal interviews. That is, tell me about yourself. So again, let us try to understand what is the reason behind this question being asked upfront. So the aspect is that the interviewers want to understand in maybe 1 minute or 1.5 minutes a brief understanding or overview of everything about yourself, what you feel are the best qualities about you, how you feel you deserve to be projected, and also what are the kind of things on which possibly the interviewers can grill you about later on, what are the topics on which the interviewers can want to be knowing more about you, and at the same time, what exactly about you stands out. So basically what the interviewers are looking at is a person who is very interesting and a person who is very different from others, which is what must come out in your tell me about yourself answer. So this is your chance to speak about the best qualities about you, what differentiates you from the others, and what makes you stand out as an interesting and a talented individual. So having said that, a few knows about tell me about yourself. What I've been noticing is that a lot of you come to the interviews and start saying and tell me about yourself, start introducing about your family background, your dad does this, your mom does this. That is something which is not really required, unless maybe in case there's a major family struggle that you've had, which you want to mention about, how you've emerged stronger from it, then that's a different issue. Otherwise, it's not required to know what your dad is doing or what your mom is doing. Second thing, in tell me about yourself, it is not required to illustrate the name of your school or your marks that you've achieved in your class 10, 12 or graduation, because that is something which is already there in your CV or in your form and the interviewers are aware of it. What they are looking at is knowing a little more about you, preferably touching a little more details about what is there in your CV, and maybe you trying to focus out for them that okay fine, this is what you're good at and this is what you deserve to be asked more about. And this is your opportunity to direct the interview into your terms. Please understand that if you do not do that, then what will happen is the interviewers will have to go back to their common set of questions, which may be something related to your academic discipline. They have a set of questions which they have to ask you about, or maybe they will have to go back to their current affairs questions, which again is something depends on whether you know it or you do not know it. Or they just look through your form, whichever answer they feel is more suited or interests them, they'll be going back and asking you that. Which is why you setting in there and setting the context of the interview is actually very, very important. So let me go into then what exactly you need to say in your tell me about yourself. So maybe in just the first sentence you can just talk about your graduation discipline that you did, and then straight away move into any achievements that you've done, be it in the academic field, be it in the extracurricular field, or be it in a work ex. Preferably stick to any one or two out of these three, because that chosen option should be the one where you want your interview to circulate about. For example, if you feel that you've not done too much in the extracurriculars field or in the work ex field, but you've done some really interesting work in your academic projects, you've done some very good research projects, and that's the perfect thing that you can speak about in more details. But make sure that it does not come out as just an academic project that was done just for the research perspective. You should be having a good understanding about what exactly the kind of impact that the project could be having in a real life scenario. Similarly, if you're talking about extracurricular activities, just speak maybe a line about each extracurricular activity that you've been involved in, but make sure that that comes out as something very interesting, so that the interviewers will be having a tendency to narrow down to maybe 2 or 3 of them and keep grilling you more. And the more time of the interview that gets wasted in your area of strength, it goes in your favor. Similarly, if you're going into your work ex, again, it should be something preferably which is a quality which you've picked up, which will help you even in your post MBA life. So that is something which you need to keep in mind. So having said that, a couple of things which you also could do possibly is, in case you have a clarity or goal that you want to be an entrepreneur later on, you can just mention that somewhere online after 10-15 years you want to be an entrepreneur. The reason is they'll automatically give an indication right up front that the reason why you want to do an MBA is the fact that you want to be an entrepreneur. So you have already directed the interviewer towards a particular direction. Now, so I'll just give you a brief about how I went about my GDPI at IIM, the XLRI, FMS and all the top B schools in the year 2012. So I was a fresher then, and to be very honest, I was not very well versed with my engineering subjects. So what I tried to focus my interviews on was my extracurricular activities. So immediately when this question of tell me about yourself popped up, I would just maybe speak a line or so about the fact that I'm from a computer science engineering background and that I've always had a very good academic record. And immediately after that, I would talk about 5 different areas in which my extracurricular activities have really shown out. For example, I would mention about the fact that I'm a national level debater, which would automatically give a drop-in hint to the interviewers that maybe, okay, fine, you can ask me questions about debating. Then I would mention about the fact that I'm a lead actor who's participated over the last 15 years in various dramas, theatres, plays. And again, that would leave a kind of an interest area for somebody in the panel in case he or she is from acting. Next I would talk about is the fact that I had a top 30 startup in India. So basically in the year 2011, the National Entrepreneurship Network came up with a list of top 30 startup ideas in which my idea did feature. So that was something I would speak about, and that automatically gave an inclination towards my interviewers to drill the interview more into understanding what my startup idea was about and how an MBA will help me scale up the startup idea. I would also talk about the facts like being involved and participating and winning in national level and international level puzzle competitions, and also being a very active participant in various sports like cricket, football and athletics. I would also later mention about the fact that I would always be into organizing roles as part of fests, be it Tech Fest, be it the Cultural Fest, or be it the Entrepreneurship Festival in our college, and my learnings from that experience. All these would actually kind of be a kind of a direction as to these are the skill sets that I have, and I'd already prepared in mind how I can link those learnings to my YMBA answer, which is also something which they'll be looking at, because they'll be gradually going into from where you are today, what do you want to do after MBA. So the basic idea is keep these 4-5 areas, keep them as a kind of a bait for the interviewer to pick any one of them up and ask you more questions on. Okay, so the basic idea, another one major important concept is that each of these you must be prepared with a 1 or 2 minute speech on how you would be able to justify them in interesting manner. For example, if you're talking about debating, you should be prepared that, okay fine, any topic comes, I should be able to speak for the motion for 30 seconds, maybe or 1 minute, against the motion for 30 seconds or 1 minute. Similarly, if you're mentioning something like dancing or singing, you should be prepared that, okay fine, if required, I'll be able to perform a 30 seconds dance or a 30 second song. You should be having that clarity in mind of which song to sing or which dance to perform, or which maybe play to talk about if you're into acting. Similarly, if you're talking about work experience, you must be able to correlate how these learnings will actually help you in your post-MBA, because understand this, that is tell me about yourself is the key that the interviewers will be taking care of to set the interview tone rolling. Now, another important aspect that aspirants tend to miss out on is sometimes they just speak a few things about themselves and then they stop. Please understand that the moment you're doing that, the interviewer will also tend to lose interest. If you do not show interest from your side about making yourself seem a very interesting person, why should the interviewer be interested in you in the first place? So, show that enthusiasm when you're telling me about yourself, show that pride about the fact that you've done something well in various fields, so that stands out, and serve that bait to the interviewer that, okay fine, ask me anything about this, I am an expert in this field. At the same time, make sure that all your answers against those points that you just highlighted in your tell me about yourself are prepared in the background, so that any of them gets picked up and asked, you can throw up to them and impress them at the same time. Please understand that tell me about yourself is the question that is asked usually within the first 1 or 2 minutes of your interview. And a good start is what is the most important thing in an interview. If you make a bad start there itself, then there's a strong chance that the interview will fall flat, or your interview will drift away from what is actually your comfort zone. So then guys, sit down, think by yourself which are the 4-5 major key areas about yourself that you want the interviewers to explore further about you, and make sure that you're incorporating them in your tell me about yourself. It doesn't matter what it is about, but it should be something that you're passionate about. Just one word of caution: do not include things which you would do up to a certain level and now you've totally stopped doing that. Because the moment you say something like that, the interviewers will tend to get an understanding that you're not even serious about things that you were once passionate about, which could also imply that today you're passionate about an MBA. After 2-3 years, you may just regret it, just like you might be regretting your graduation discipline choice, which is something, again, it's best avoided. So then guys, I hope this answer helped all of you. Thank you guys.